So I will do a roll call. Danielle Spicer, Chair.
Here.
Eric Nyland.
Here.
Michael Gore.
Here.
Mark Sprague.
I think he logged off. He might be coming in shortly, but at least we do have a quorum right now.
Correct. We do have a quorum. So Peter Driscoll is not present and is neither James Barr, the associate.
Okay. And so I've got the agenda. I can everyone see my screen? Okay, great. So we don't have any hearings tonight, so we're going to start off with Bob Pace, Keys Farm Subdivision. Applicant seeks a bond reduction for work completed and approved to date.
Hi.
Hi, Bob. Go ahead.
Well, basically, this is a carryover. The bond is okay from last meeting. Fred was going to take a look at it. Nietzsche already did their review, and Fred was going to take a look at it. Okay, why don't we do that piece of business first, and then we'll go right into the site walk and stuff like that, if that's okay with you.
Sure. Erica, do you want me to bring up, I think there was 2 comments from the bond reduction that was submitted. One was from Nitch and one was from Fred. So, and I think actually Ducharme and Dillis resubmitted
That's
the
correct.
bond reduction. So the one I'm going to show is the, I just highlight, the only reason why I've highlighted this is the latest bond reduction that was sent to the planning board members. The reason I've highlighted the loam and seed was because that was the revised amount that Fred had commented on with regard to the loam and seed, and Ducharme and Dillis did update that. So it actually is meeting. And Fred, let me know if I'm actually stating anything incorrectly. But they just asked to reduce that down to 80%. The only other line item that was on there that I think Mitch was just asking about was they had commented on the street lights. The no street lights were observed in the field, and just wanted to confirm that. So Bob, if you would just want to comment on the street lights.
The only street light, okay, was down at the bottom of the road. It wasn't, the only thing that did happen was there was a new pole set and relocated, okay, but it virtually stayed in the same place, if you remember.
So was that already installed?
That was already there, okay, so whether they did that for a new pole, I don't know, but that's the only thing I can think of. There's a light there and it's per the plan.
Okay. Fred, did you want to just comment on that?
Yeah, I believe the street light, the line item there was for one at the end of the cul-de-sac that was waived. Am I correct? The one that's that's crossed out now was at the end of the cul-de-sac that was waived. And like Bob said, the pole got relocated at the beginning of the roadway right at Hudson Road. It's been a while. I haven't been out there, of course. I don't recall. There is a street light back on that, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay.
They all they did was replace the pole. They needed a higher pole.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
And if that
be located due to the roadway. Wait, this was done now a year and a half ago or something like that.
Yeah, I remember there was a pole there like in the middle of the roadway for a little while.
Correct,
Well,
it had to be relocated.
To the right side of the road, yeah. So they relocated it.
So,
that's the only thing I can think of what it could be. If they crossed something off on a plan, it was long before my time.
So Danielle, I guess my only comment, this is Erica, you're already town planner. So is this, I guess my question is this a light that's off of the utility pole? Because my understanding, and Fred, you can chime in, for the subdivision plans, I thought it was supposed to be a separate street light as part of the subdivision, in the subdivision. Perhaps I'm misunderstanding.
I'm going to look on the plan right now.
So I guess while Ed's doing that, for the rest of the planning board members, you guys received the bond reduction. I think these were the only two comments. You know, Fred reviewed it, and Ducharme Dillis already updated the loam and seed. So once we kind of get the street light settled, I think it has been vetted through Fred.
Okay, according to the plan, there is a street light. The pole that Bob's talking about is on the right side of the new roadway as you drive in, okay? On the plan, there is one required on the left side, just a new street light completely. And none at the end of the cul-de-sac, from what I can see on the plans.
Okay, so there's just one at the beginning.
Correct. I don't recall. I'm sorry. I don't recall if the existing pole had a light that replaced that one. I don't recall that.
I don't recall it either.
Then maybe for now we should leave that item in.
Okay, so we'll just leave, I guess, well, so should this be 100% or no?
That should be 0 then, the way we're talking right now.
Okay.
0%.
%0 completed.
Yeah.
And then, Fred, was there money being held back for detention, the outlet control structure for detention basin 3,
Right.
just to make sure that it functions appropriately?
Yes. You want me to run through the changes? Yeah, I know you highlighted
Sure,
one of them.
yeah. If you
Okay,
wanted, that'd be great.
So the first one, since we just came to it, is so the street light wasn't changed, but that should be changed back, okay? To a $1,500 remaining.
Okay.
Okay, Danielle?
Yep.
Okay.
So
the
this would
next
be
line item was
0%, so we'll have, oh, yeah.
correct. The next line item right after is punch list for punch list and road signs. They had it initially on the submission of July 30th. They had 100% complete. So the punch list, of course, is near the end. I know the road signs are in, so we put that back in at 0 complete right now with 1,000. Okay, and hear me out on the whole thing before you question anything. And then the next item right in line was the loam and seed, which they were holding, I want to say 10%. And in talking with Erica, we decided we should have a little more. I know the loam for the most part is in. There has been erosion. There might have to be some more work on that. The seeding has gone back and forth. So at this time, and this does, by the way, the loam and seed doesn't include the lots. This is for the sides of the roadways and the detention basin. Just so everyone understands that. So we held 20% there. As you go to the next page, I'm sorry, the bottom of that page, which is still on page 1. Okay.
Oh, so do you want the
See
bottom?
where it says detention basin bars? It's the 4th from the bottom line on sheet 1. 4th from the bottom. Detention basin bars for 3 pipes. That's the outlet pipes. The plans call for those to have grates or bars on them. And so we used $500 for each outlet pipe for a total of $1,500 there. Okay?
Okay.
Then, as you go on to the next page, let's see, down about halfway down, it's not even capitalized, it says drain pond.
Yep, right here.
Right, and that's for pond 3. That originally it has a decent depth of a good 1.5 feet from the bottom of the pond to the first orifice outlet. The wick should be draining what's left there along with the infiltration into the ground. It might not be infiltrating like it's supposed to. I've talked to Greg Roy about it. Eric, he thought it had drained out, but Erica's understanding was that Rhino had pumped it at that point. So we're going to leave some money in there in case something has to be done. And it could be as simple as putting in, I've talked to Greg Roy about it, putting in a small orifice at the bottom that really doesn't let much flow out, but lets it drain. A small orifice in the outlet structure.
Yeah.
But we left some money in there for that.
Okay.
So that's 2,000. And now if you go down to under other items, and it'd have to be on the third sheet then. First line item is Failstone head wall. That was initially on the July 30th estimate shown as 100% complete, but they left the $12,000 in there. So they are complete. So we took the 12,000 out. Coincidentally, if you look down at the total 148,248, coincidentally, that's what was on the July 30th estimate. The 12,000 was taken out. The other items I just mentioned coincidentally added up to 12,000, and so we're back at that same number.
So now if we go back to
I'm sorry, and then
potentially want to
street lights would add
Okay,
another about 1,500.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to do. So we're going to add, go back down to here. We're going to need to add 1,500 here, right?
How are we going to
Correct.
figure this $1,500 out?
Excuse me?
How are we going to figure this $1,500 out?
I don't understand your question, Bob.
This
If
street
it's
light.
necessary?
No, this street light.
If it's necessary, or the cost of it?
No. I'm not worried about the cost. So.
Oh, if it's has to be put in?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe, well, I'm going to have Gavin will have to go out from Niche and either verify that there's a light on that other pole, the existing, or the relocated pole.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Or something like that, and then decision will have to be. Yep.
That's fine. I'm not worried about it because we're coming right back in because we're going to.
Is that correct, Danielle? Is that the way we should approach it?
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. As long as Gavin, as long as Niche can verify that, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So basically verify that there's a light there.
Yeah, that it takes the place of the other one.
Okay. Yep. Okay. I have no issue with that.
Okay.
So this is my crude update.
Yep.
Well, actually, I'll just leave it right under here. So are there any other additional comments from the board with regard to that bond, the bond estimate that we've just kind of went through?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. So with this, we need to add the 1.5%, right?
That's correct.
The 1.5x.
Now, I always forget-
1.5.
I wish it was 1.5%.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, it's 150%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always forget exactly how to do this. So someone want to walk
You just have
me
to
through this and I'll
multiply
write
it
it
by. Sure. So the
1.5.
final amount should be multiplied by 1.5.
The 149,748.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. 149,748 times 1.5.
224,622.
Yeah. Okay. So is that the,
Correct.
So we're gonna, so I'm just writing this down. So the bond amount then is,
Okay.
all right, so I guess I'm not, what's the revised bond amount?
What was the estimate on the, I think it was January 20th this year, I believe was the last one. If no one has it, I can look through my file and get it.
I don't have it.
Erica, do you know what the number was before?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Okay, can you give me a minute and I'll
Yeah.
go through my file?
And Danielle, the other way we can do it too, so that way, in case the accounting, just to make sure that the accounting numbers add up to what we're discussing this evening,
Yeah,
the board could take a vote just on the bond reduction, and then that way, the overall bond amount, we're not tied to, a specific number on
okay,
the
so we
overall.
can,
Yeah, we could do
say
it
the
that
bond
way
reduction
too.
to 224,622.
Yes,
I do have it
in
right
that
here.
way. Okay.
Would you like to hear it, see it,
Sure.
hear it? Okay,
Sure.
so this is of January 22nd, 2020. And the amount remaining was not prior to the 1.5 multiplier was $303,400.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? 303?
03,400.
Okay. All right, so then the bond amount would be, I'll put this, would be 78,778. Someone wants to check my arithmetic.
So what were you looking at, the 303 times 1.5?
No, I did 303,400 minus the remaining amount, right? Minus 224,622, so you get 78,778.
No,
No, you
no.
gotta add,
The
you gotta do the multiplier to 303
should-
first.
Oh,
The
whoops,
one-
all right. See,
That was prior to it, that's what I mean.
all right. So why doesn't someone?
You should multiply the 303,400 times 1.5.
So
That's what you-
455,100, 455,100.
Gotcha. So I'm sorry, Mike. What was that?
455,100.
All right. Thank you. All right, and then, so isn't it just this minus this?
It's the 455 minus the 224, yes.
Yeah, so that's gonna be 230, 478.
And that's how much you're releasing.
Yeah. All right, so if someone wants to entertain a motion, I have the numbers on the screen. Unless, are there any, yeah, sorry, go ahead, Erica.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. I had one comment. I think that's important. So I just want to make sure though, too, we're keeping at least, I believe it's 20% for our subdivision rules and regs that we need to hold over the course of the winter. So Fred, the remaining amount, is that at least 20% of the overall bond?
I'll have to, let me go back another layer of information to get.
Yeah, because
I
the
don't think-
original bond was 600 and something. So I just want to make sure we're holding enough money.
Well,
Well, 20% of that would be 120,000.
yeah. Yeah, you're $100,000 over.
Okay,
Let me see
I
if I
just
can
wanted
find-
just to verify.
Okay. Erica,
Yeah,
I have an estimate on January 23rd, 2019 for 454,010, and that was prior to the 1.5.
okay.
Do you have that number? Or you just have the other number?
I don't have the document in front of me. If we multiply that by 1.5, I know the original number was 600 and something thousand. So if that works out to be 600 and something thousand, it's probably the right number.
Yeah,
It comes out-
681.
681,015.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. So as long as we're holding at least 20% of that number, then I'm fine with the
The
bond
20%
reduction.
would be 136,000. So
All right.
yes,
so
we are.
we're good. All right. Perfect.
Okay, is there any additional comments from anyone from the audience with regard to this before we make a motion? Hearing none, does anyone from the board want to make a motion for the bond release?
I'll make a motion to release $230,000, $230,478 from the Keys Farm bond.
Second?
Second? Okay, thanks, Eric.
All
those
in favor by
Erica?
roll?
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Sorry.
thanks.
Danielle Spicer,
Yes,
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Eric Nyland.
Yes.
Are there any other board members present that I'm not aware of?
I finally got on, but I wasn't here for
Mark's
the
on.
discussion, so sorry about that. I wasn't on here for the discussion, so I'm going to abstain.
You're going to abstain. Okay, so Mark will abstain. So that 3 in favor. We're good.
All right. And then what I'll do is I'll just save this one, and Eric, I'll email this back to you because it's got my little notes in red.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yep.
For your document. And then Bob, did you want to jump on to the next item?
Yes, which is okay, so the work today. Well, we had the walk, was it last week? It seems like it was longer ago than that, but we had a
2 weeks
walk.
ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I was right. I think the walk went well. Since then, the grass has thickened. It's going to be cut again. Okay, I had cut it that day. We have started putting the trees in. I don't know if anybody's went by there today, but they should have seen them. It looks like an arboretum there. We're, as soon as the trees are done, we're going to raise the catch basins and we're going to pave. I think realistically, okay, we got, maybe another 4 days, 5 days worth of work, okay, with the trees. And that'll bring us into next week. I do have a request. I'd like to work Saturday on these trees. We're in the roadway. It's with a mini excavator, very, very small. It's brand new. It's got a nice muffler on it. I think that the neighbors, we've met with almost all the neighbors. If there's any neighbors on there, I think they'd agree that we met with them and kind of moved trees around so that we made as many people happy as we could. I don't think you'll have any complaints from the neighbors at this point. It would give us a real jump on these, and quite frankly, we kind of squeezing them in as fast as we can to get them to roof this year.
So Erica, I don't know if we had the working for Saturdays on the agenda, but do we have people from, I guess, have we notified the abutters with regard to this request?
I wasn't aware Bob was going to
No.
be making a Saturday.
Okay.
Yes, no, I have not.
Neither was I, except I got asked, today. And this is, I mean, I am asking. I haven't asked, it's certainly not hammers and nails. It's in the right of way. It goes pretty fast.
It's just for tree installation?
Pardon me?
It's just for tree installation?
Just for tree installation, nothing
For
else.
the street trees? Can I
Right.
ask, is there any of the residents that are here tonight?
I am. This is Liz Hutchins.
Hi.
So-
do you, if I can ask you how you feel about that?
Yeah, I have no problem, to be honest, with Bob doing that. And I will say the trees look really nice. And he was very, very good about walking around the neighborhood, making sure everybody was happy. Obviously, I'm just one person. I can't speak for the whole neighborhood. But no offense to Bob, but we want him out here sooner rather than later. So having him be able to come in on a Saturday and get more work done to get out quicker would be amenable to me personally.
Okay, thanks.
It's one Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's just, Bob, is it just this Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 9/12, basically you're looking
Right.
for, it's just 9/12.
Yeah.
Are there any other residents online?
Where we
Hearing that,
had,
I'm gonna assume no.
Bob, how many trees is it?
pardon me?
How many trees are you installing?
There's about 50 of them. Oh, there's actually more than that because there's the spruce trees way back in lot 12 and on lot 1. I'll be wise enough not to work on lot 1. Where we've had complaints in the past was the residents behind lot 1 on I can't think of the road. What's behind there?
Danforth.
Danforth.
Right. Okay, so
Notified or
we'll be sensitive to that and work up the other end. And I think that most of the homeowners will be out there, and if they want to tweak them, we'd be happy to do that. But it really is, I mean, it's coming out nice. I mean, you can see what $30,000 looks like.
I mean, the fact that we actually have at least one resident on here, Liz, I thank you for calling in and just that she's voiced she's okay with that. I'm more apt to, and it's one Saturday and it's tree work. It's not large excavation, machineries. So I would feel okay with actually allowing this one Saturday, but how does the other board feel?
I'm okay with it.
I'm not wild about it. I think it's a terrible precedence.
That's that's the negative part, yeah.
I don't think that we've done justice to the other abutters by not notifying them. I mean, Bob knows better than to drop this onto an agenda, with no notice.
I didn't even know that we were getting the trees. Okay, so we were just lucky enough to get the trees.
This weekend anyway, so.
One more time, I'm sorry.
You
What'd you
were
say?
doing it this weekend anyway. It just happened to show up. So I mean, I'm not really in favor of it, but we'll let it go where it does.
Anyone else want to comment? Well, I'll open it up if the board is amenable to putting a motion or if they are not.
I will make a motion to allow tree work to be done at Keys Farm on Saturday, September 12th. We should talk about a start time. 8 a.m. Is that
That's fine.
reasonable?
That's very
Sorry,
reasonable
eight.
to me.
At no earlier than 8 a.m.
Second.
Although, actually, Erica, do you want to do that? All those in favor?
Sure. All those in favor by roll call: Danielle Spicer,
Yes.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Yes.
Mark Sprague.
No.
All right. The motion passes with 3 votes and 1 no.
Thank you. The only other thing that I wanted to ask was, there was some discussion on this walk on the driveway drainage. I don't know how deeply you guys want to get into that. We talked about it briefly.
That's actually why I called in as well. Just because I wanted to hear if there was any
Yep.
update, if the board had been able to chat about that at this point.
I'm sorry, what was this? Bob, if you can,
Yeah. Do you remember I said, if we had talked about drainage from lot 4 and lot 3 specifically, okay, going into the gutter rather than down the
oh, yes,
the swale.
yep. I know
Okay, and there's a bylaw, okay, that prohibits that. There's also, okay, I mean, we talked about it. I just think it's a great practice. The drainage was sized for it, okay, which was, and we also talked about dumping it to a catch basin, okay, instead, going across from transgressing from lot 4 to lot 3, while we're there, okay. I will say that the grass, like I had said, is coming in, but that's going to be a constant battle, okay. Whether you had, and we spoke about it. And I just thought I'd ask the question while I have a curb guy there to put a small curb on Liz's driveway or lot 3's driveway, just to catch some of the water and put it in there is nothing to me. Okay. And it's, I think it's a benefit for the town long term.
So I just kind of, there's 2 things. I mean, one, I think that we do as a plan board want to look at this specifically with regard to the bylaws as a bigger item. Erica, are we able to kind of review this request right now?
I think it requires the board. The board certainly could tonight if they wanted to take the time. I would suggest that the board, we could pull up the bylaw and the regulation and review it and, start there. So it's really just up to the board whether or not you want to dive into that tonight, or we can certainly add that to the next agenda as an item, and kind of go from there. So it's up to you guys.
I mean, if it's a bylaws, there's nothing we can do about it, right? Not as just a board.
Yeah, I guess
I'm
it's
sorry.
more of. Sorry, go ahead, Erica.
I'm sorry. I was just saying that I missed that question. I apologize.
If it's a bylaw, the board can't circumvent that, correct?
Well, I would like to review it with the board because it could come down to the interpretation of the bylaw. I think there may be some intent there that the way that the bylaw was written was really in reference to existing country roads where there were A&R lots that where there wasn't really any drainage thought in terms of the development. Then you have this country road drainage along the side. So moving forward, they didn't want new driveways then draining to the road that didn't really have a lot of drainage structures to begin with. So I think, again, I think it comes down to interpretation, and maybe the board could take a look at the bylaw and review it again, and could come to a decision at some point.
So I guess the question is it may make sense for us just to review that between now and the next meeting, so that way we've kind of had a chance to digest it. Bob, is there like a specific timeline for when, our next hearing is what, the 23rd? If we were to review this and kind of,
we're trying to get this, okay, again, as the paver can take us, okay, that's our dilemma here again. Okay, I wasn't making that up about the trees. They called last week and said, if you want them, you got to take them. Okay, they want to get their yards cleaned up for winter. Okay, and I'm not suggesting that I guess I am suggesting that once it's paved, that gives us less of an opportunity to do that. Okay, it's very easy to do when it's paved.
Sure. No, I understand that. I guess my question is, you're anticipating paving before the 23rd?
Or you don't? Right around the 23rd,
Right around the 23rd.
Yeah.
I think it's because, the entire board hasn't been able to digest this a little bit. I think there's a little bit of us just needing to bring that up. Erica can email that us to ahead of time. We can review that and the interpretation and have a better chance to review that. I don't think anyone's reviewed that in preparation for tonight, just because it wasn't on the agenda.
And Danielle, I just think, as a developer, okay, I think it's just good planning. Okay, whether it's
no, I agree.
I think they do this with this project,
and that's why I said I think it actually encompasses a bigger thing. I think it's really looking at it overall, not just for this project, but for moving forward. I think is correct. Yeah, no, I agree.
The only other suggestion, if you're talking about things when you put sidewalks in these new places, I said it to one of you, but as you're coming up the roadway, I think that sidewalk should be more towards the road or further away. Okay, for the reason discussed. Okay, there's not a lot of room to plant trees on them. And that's in the future, it has nothing to do with this project.
Okay, so with that, I think I'd like to, Erica, we can add this to the agenda for the next hearing, and just if we can
certainly can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can talk if we can re-review that portion of the bylaw. If you want to just send that to the planning board.
I will do that.
That'd be great.
Yep.
All right. Was there anything else, Bob?
No, I'd like to thank everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Can I just ask one question, Bob, before you leave?
Sure.
I know you mentioned that you were going to be doing the paving. Is the intention to fix the berms before the paving is done?
You're going to put 2 inches of curb down. I'm sorry, of hot top down. A lot of that's going to get covered. Okay, but they're going to have to hit that with some heat and remold that.
Okay, but the intention is for the paving company, they should be taking care of that.
Yeah, but I'm not sure it's going to get done now. It'll probably get done before road acceptance next year, I think.
Okay.
That's, what happens is you can see what happens. Not everything there was the homeowners, and certainly not everything there was me. Okay, but the curb does get banged up. And
no, that's totally understandable. I just am curious about a timeline. That's all.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye now.
All right. Bye. We're going to jump to the next item. Andy Benderson, Century Mill Estates, request for minor modification to eliminate a portion of sidewalk on Old Stone Circle. And I can see if I think this is, so I have the pictures shown in the email you sent, Erica. Is Andy here or someone here or?
Andy said he would be present. I don't know if I can't see whether or not he's on the call.
I don't see that he is.
Not by name, unless he's one of the two phone numbers that's there.
Well, the 9-7, no, that's Erica and that's Fred, right? Erica, you're the 518 and Fred, you're the 978
Correct.
phone number?
Correct.
Yeah.
I sent him the agenda last week. I spoke to him and I said that it was highly recommended that he be on the call, and he said he would be. So I'm not sure. Maybe.
Do we want to just?
Are we on schedule? Is it?
Oh, we're actually way behind
We're way
schedule.
behind.
So.
Oh, we're
It's
way behind. So he should have been on. Yeah. Okay. So it's not like we're ahead of schedule. So I'm not
No.
sure.
Well, why don't we table it to the end, and we'll see if he joins. And if he joins, we can bring it back up. Otherwise, we can push it to the next meeting.
Okay.
So
Unless,
does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it does, unless the board feels comfortable enough weighing in without him present. It's a pretty. It's up to you. It's up to the board how they want.
So
to
yeah,
do it.
so previously, so was anyone present when the Cider Circle one was approved? I wasn't.
I don't remember it.
I think Erica, you said you weren't even.
I don't
then if
believe
Erica
so.
wasn't,
No,
then I definitely
Cider.
wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, Cider Circle was already constructed when I started as town planner. I don't know if Fred has. I believe Fred has some recollection, but he doesn't know how it came to be with the planning board. But he does remember the discussion, at least, of removing a part of the sidewalk.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, Erica, if you want to just give a brief history, if we want to take care of it now, I think it is a small item that was at, what was it at Cider Circle, we, before, however many years ago, it was agreed not to extend the sidewalk around the cul-de-sac because of all the numerous curb cuts. So this is doing just the asking to do the exact same thing and to waive the sidewalk having to go around the circles because of all the curb cuts. So it's from my standpoint, it makes complete sense. However, I understand if the board wanted Andy to be present for the discussion, but again, as far as the reasons why to do it, I think it makes sense. So. Are there any residents or abutters that are online from Century Mill? No, okay. Does the board want to just discuss this real quickly or move on to the next one?
I mean, I think we can discuss it without him present. I think we understand what the request is for. And we have precedent that it was done on a different part of this development. So I don't know why. I guess I'd want to understand why we wouldn't want to approve it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I have no objections to it. Does anyone have some objections?
Yeah, I'm just trying to. You're supposed to be showing. You don't have the plan.
I don't. All I have is just the two photos that he sent. So basically, this is Cider Circle where it was approved end of sidewalk here. And so they're basically just asking to end the sidewalk, pretty much a similar configuration before it goes around the whole cul-de-sac.
And so the plans called for it to go around the entire cul-de-sac, so it would come back up on the left side there where the grass is. Is that what the original plan said?
No, the plans call for the sidewalk to go halfway around the cul-de-sac.
It's kind of odd. It's definitely kind of odd.
It's odd. Yeah.
Is there something at the end of at that middle part of the end of the cul-de-sac that? Like,
No,
is there open
it's
space
just,
there?
there's just a lot of driveway. If you remember, this board did, I believe it was supposed to be granite curb around the cul-de-sac, and this board did waive for Old Stone Circle, the granite, and allowed for asphalt just because of the number of curb cuts.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like that similar discussion of, you know, it doesn't make sense to have it there. So,
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with approving this change.
Mark or Eric, do you guys have any concerns?
And considering that it was already done on the other circle, I think I'm fine with approving as well.
Yeah, I'd love a developer to actually build what's in the designs sometime, but I'm okay with the change.
All right, can anyone want to entertain a motion to approve ending the sidewalk, I guess, as noted in this photo before the cul-de-sac?
Yeah, do we have any technical reference, like a specific lot?
We could just say
Point or
per the
something,
email, or maybe per the photo that was attached to the email sent on Monday, August 31st.
Erica, is that good enough?
I think that's fine.
So I'll make a motion to reduce the size of the sidewalk on Old Stone Circle in Century Mills Estate to the area described in the email to Erica dated Monday, August 31st, 2020.
No,
And Erica, you
All
want to
in
do a roll
favor
call?
by, sure, all in favor by roll call. Danielle Spicer,
Can I just
Aye.
interject a second? Could I interject? This is Fred.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah,
Fred.
Just want to make sure that he ends up putting in a handicap ramp there at the end.
Well, it would still
Was
need
that-
to end exactly as, yeah.
yeah. I mean,
That
it has
is-
to end
that is the
however it
intention.
ended in the.
yeah.
Well, I
That
don't
is the
recall on
intention.
side of circle if the ramp is in yet. I don't recall, and I can't say
It
for
was,
sure.
it wasn't, yeah, no, it
It-
wasn't in yet, and that is to be done. We
So-
had a site
so-
visit in early August, and we
Okay.
reviewed that, but perhaps in terms of the vote, maybe we redo the vote and just also include the fact that the ADA ramp needs to be installed, just to be safe.
Correct.
I will make a new motion to end the sidewalk of Old Stone Circle at Century Mills Estate at the point noted in the email dated Monday, August 31st, 2020, with the sidewalk ending with an ADA compliant handicap ramp.
a second.
All in favor by roll call. Danielle Spicer,
Aye.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
and Mark Sprague.
Aye.
Great. Motion passed unanimously. Unanimously. Ugh, I can't speak. All right, so let's go back to the agenda. All right, accessory apartments dwelling units discussion. This is the planning board to discuss potential changes to the Bolton zoning bylaws regarding accessory apartments to allow for detached dwelling units. I had a resident contact me recently just about their unique situation where they actually have a detached dwelling that was zoned for commercial, previous to it was built before they bought it, and they are actually looking to kind of see if it could be used residentially. What we allow in our zoning bylaws is if the dwelling unit is attached to the, and Erica, correct me if I say anything incorrectly, but what we allow is if the dwelling unit is somehow attached to the house, that's allowed. But as soon as it's detached, it's not allowed per our bylaw. So wanted to just bring this up. Erica, and you can kind of maybe talk about some additional history you've had with other residents in the town that maybe have been looking for something like this, but wanted to see if the planning board would be interested for the next town meeting into crafting a bylaw change to actually allow for detached dwelling units. Wanted to kind of see what the feelings were on the board with regard to this.
Yeah, so I would just add that over the course of several years, I've had a handful of people either call or stop by my office that were either sought to build a detached structure. They wanted to bring onto their property the idea of like a tiny house, or wanted to use like an existing barn or structure that didn't meet the barn bylaw as an accessory, dwelling unit. And unfortunately, in those instances, I haven't been, I've had to tell them no, our zoning bylaw doesn't allow for it. So the only other thing I would add to that is that we do have a draft housing production plan right now that we're working to finalize. And in that plan, as one of the strategies to diversify our housing, is to allow for detached accessory dwelling units, just to provide more flexibility, more options for residents who are looking to downsize, whether it be that they want to downsize into that accessory dwelling unit and allow, let's say, one of their children to move in with their family into the primary residence, or vice versa. So again, it's just to provide diversity in housing, flexibility. And again, like Danielle said, we had this one particular resident that's been coming forward quite a bit recently. And so I think it's a pertinent discussion whether or not we want to, look at this and bring it forward for next town meeting.
So would that be limited to one accessory apartment? Is that how
Correct. That's typical. I mean, the idea here is if the board is agreeable and wants to move forward, at least looking at it, I'll do the research, the legwork. There's been a lot of studies done on a regional level about this. So, I can pull in data from MAPC and other surrounding towns and see how other communities allow for it. So typically it's one. I don't think I've ever seen a town that allows more than one on a property.
Yeah. Now, Erica, with a housing production plan, that has not been finalized yet, right?
It has not been finalized. So currently they've done presentations in front of you guys, Board of Selectmen, and the Master Plan Steering Committee. So I think the next stop will be conservation. And then from there, hopefully we'll have a public comment period. And then we'll move towards a final document.
I know there was talk about on the housing production meeting about requiring it to be affordable, but we thought maybe that wouldn't be possible. People wouldn't be willing to do that.
Yeah, I think that's something that we need to vet out. I think that's something that the planning board could consider. But I think at the end of the day, the way that once you look at the housing production plan and you review it, you'll realize that the strategy to getting to the 10% affordable, according to DHCD, we're looking at a different strategy, because something like this probably isn't really significant enough to get us there. So we don't want to limit, because to make it deed restricted is so much more difficult. So this really is not about that. It's more about providing diversity in housing.
Right. Yeah. Lowercase affordable, right?
Exactly. Because this is still affordable. It's just not deed restricted. So it's definitely something that the town needs. So.
And all we're saying is whether we want to investigate it for next week.
Basically for tonight. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to dive into it if the board is not willing to look at it this year.
I think anything that gets more housing, I'm in favor of. So I say yes, for sure.
Yeah,
we need to take a vote on it, or is it?
No vote. No, yeah.
Yeah.
It was more of just giving Erica direction on, this is kind of the time when we start thinking about new articles that we want to put forward. And specifically since, we had a resident kind of come forward with this to us recently, I thought it was a great topic to bring up, but just to see what all your feelings were with regard to, delving into it.
Yeah, I think it's good, and it's right in line with what the housing production plan is gonna, recommend. So I think it'd be good.
Mark, were you about to say something?
In my shed and charge them rent.
Yeah. Just put a little toilet in there, and you're good.
Exactly.
Your septic can handle it, sure. I think that it's a good thing. I think certainly starting to act on some of what's in the housing production plan. Will it will be a good thing. I think in general it'll tie in with what the master planning is doing. So.
Yeah, and I think, and Erica, anything we were doing, we can review that with the Housing Production Plan Committee, right? I mean, to make sure that we're doing it concurrently with, yeah. So I think Erica, as you start to dive into it and you get information on a bunch of adjacent towns, we can then kind of review it with the Housing Production Plan. Once that's finalized, we can also review that. But it sounds like we're moving forward with something that is, in compliance with what they're putting forward. Like we're not, branching off and doing something that would go against it.
No, and this is certainly something that I think is an attractive option for most communities like Bolton, because it's a really easy way to diversify your housing without really changing the landscape. So it seems like a no-brainer to me, but obviously, it's up to the planning board. So
yeah, I'm all in favor. If you guys all are too, we can give Erica her charge.
Go for it.
All right.
Okay,
that sounds like
you.
We're good.
All right.
And is there anyone else from the audience that wanted to touch base on this, or are we good to jump into the next one? I think we're good. All right, so we're going to move forward with investigating that bylaw change. And then, Fred, if you want to talk about, we got your resignation letter. Just, first of all, thank you for your wonderful, is it 21 years of service?
Yeah, it's been a while. Just shows my age.
Wow, that's that's awesome. If you can just talk about, you also had some recommendations for potentially who could replace you. Do you mind?
I did have, it's difficult in a number of ways. I've been dealing, of course, with a lot of the local people in reviews and the same people you've been dealing with. So I think those individual companies, and if they want to continue doing work in town, they really can't be a peer review engineer. So there is one that also does work in Lancaster, and that's Haley and Ward, which you have right there. And
yes,
that's what I could think of. Everyone else in the area is either doing work in town, even though you can reach out to them, you can do it. And if you as the board and Erica want to put it as a put it out there to bid, or whatever you want to call it, put it out there for people to submit proposals. Companies, you can do that. But a lot of companies do it. Does your company, not that you would be interested, does your company do reviews in towns, Danielle?
We do. We do a lot of peer reviews for Littleton, and obviously because we're closer, up there. So it would, I wouldn't put forth.
How do you get out of this thing?
I wouldn't mean
leave.
A conflict of interest, but
most companies do it.
You
is
just
what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I meant to imply. But the companies you're familiar with might not be interested. They might, but they might not be, because then there could be more work for them design-wise, and design work and just design work than the review work and inspections is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess I was a little surprised. I mean, originally, Erica, when you reached out to Niche, just because Niche is out of Boston, so that's why I was kind of surprised that they were willing to do peer reviews all the way out here. But obviously Gavin is right now living in his parents' house in Harvard, so that's actually very convenient for him. I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, I know Judy Niche and Lisa Brothers. I mean, they're a great firm. They absolutely can do the peer reviews, but having someone locally might also be beneficial as well. So I think I'm okay with either of them. What's the best way, I guess, how does the planning board want to move forward with this? Do we want to have them kind of come in and speak, or just put in an RFP, or actually an RFQ?
Do we need to do an RFQ in general for services like this, Erica?
I don't know that it's required. Certainly you can go through that process. As an example, when Fred initially was backing off of doing the inspections because of COVID, you know, I had the ability to just then go ahead with niche engineering. I didn't have to put that out as an RFQ or an RFP. We do have some flexibility there. However, a lot of towns do that just because they don't have experience with these engineering consultants. So they put out an RFQ to review these qualifications, and then it gives them an opportunity to bring them in and interview them if they want. And so it's really however the board wants to pursue this, you know. So I'm happy to do, you know, either way.
Yeah, I mean, I see benefits for both of them. I mean, the benefits of Haley and Ward is that they're in Lancaster. So clearly local representation is great, and they may be familiar with a lot of our roads and areas and, you know, type of that stuff. Niche, I just know well. They're a similar firm to the firm I work for. So I know a lot of people that work there and the type of work that they do. So I know that they're a quality engineering firm. The one downside I would say from them is, you know, they're based out of Boston. So I guess my one thought would be, and I don't know if we necessarily care, although we should consider it, is, you know, cost. Is Niche more expensive than what Haley and Ward would be potentially?
Yeah, I guess that's what the RFQ is, you know, would help identify. I mean, if Niche has people that live out, and I'm not going for either one, you know, but you know, if Niche has people out toward Bolton that, you know, that get assigned to it to do the reviews and inspections, you know, it might not be that big a difference, but
yeah.
I mean, the town is probably better served by, you know, doing an RFQ and sending, you know, send an invitation to Haley and Ward to, you know, that Fred has recommended them, you know, if they want to, if they're interested or something. You know, I don't know how that would, you know.
Well, I guess the other question I have too is how does, you know, with the work that comes up, is it possible to have two firms kind of on retainer so that, you know, if one couldn't do it, the other one could do it? I'm just curious. I don't know how that works.
I believe so. So why don't I do a little more research and then draft an RFQ, and then the board can take a look at it. I can't do it for our next meeting, but I can probably have something prepared for one of our meetings in October, and we can kind of, because we have time. We have niche engineering at present. We have Fred through the end of the year. So why don't we take the time? I'll put something together, and then the board can review it in October, and then we can get it out there and kind of go from there.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, let's do that.
I think that was it. Before we jump to administration, does anyone else have any other business? I have one small thing, but it can be administration. All right, before we jump to the meeting minutes, I'd let Erica know our next meeting, which is September 23rd. I have a Concom hearing, it's virtually at 6 o'clock that night. Mike, are you able to, there's a chance I may not be able to jump right on at 7, because still may be in that Concom hearing. Would you be able to start the hearing if by any chance I can't start it?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. And then I'll be able to join in as soon as I get done, and hopefully we're done in an hour, but you never know. Okay, so then let's go to, did everyone get a chance to review the meeting minutes from August 12th? I'm going to hold off on August 26th for a second.
I did, Erica. There's one small but important change. That's in the 147 Long Hill hearing.
Oh, did I forget to recuse you?
You have me voting, and you didn't note that I was in the penalty box for that.
Ooh,
I apologize.
yeah.
I will update that. That was a good catch.
Any other comments on the August 12th hearing?
Nope.
Hearing none. Anyone want to make a motion for the amended planning board minutes on August 12th?
I'll move that we accept the amended planning board meetings for August 12th, and minutes for August 12th.
Second.
All in favor by roll call, Danielle Spicer,
Aye.
Michael Gore,
Abstain.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
Mark Sprague.
Yes.
All right.
Passed unanimously. I'm going to actually hold off on the meeting minutes for August 26th, mainly because this was the site visit that we did out at Keys Farm. And Erica, I believe we were supposed to receive a site memo from Niche those meeting minutes reference, and we just haven't received that yet. So
That's correct.
as soon as we
yeah.
get that, yes, we'll hold off on approving those meeting minutes. All right, I think that's it. Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right.
All in favor?
Yay.
Aye.
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 All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
All right.
Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Bye.